and welcome to Nigeria Now, where we discuss some of the pressing issues that are happening currently in the country. We're seeing various activities have been marched concerning the 1 year of the president on seat, which we would love to look at one or two of those cases that are coming up to actually see what can be done to rectify some of the wrongs that are actually happening presently. I am Sele Elisha Dasho, and you can be part of the show by joining us via Facebook and YouTube. Drop your comment, your views, and your own opinions concerning some of this issue we will be discussing this afternoon. I will be doing the program with Rachel Tazi. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Sarah.
All right, so let's get straight into the matter of the day, and we would love to start with the issue of the State Electoral Commission. We started this conversation last week where the Senate, first and foremost, met with the president, stating the fact that, you know what, there is a need to stop the issue of caretaker committee because we really do not understand what governors are up to at the state level. Because we're seeing that there are certain states that for over 4 years there have been no election. In fact, we have states that for the past 8 years, ever since some of the governors have been on seat, there have been no election, and the need for a local government election, we cannot overemphasize the importance. It's equally as important as the governorship election as well as the presidential election. Now we saw recently we also discussed where we saw INEC talking directly to governors as well as to the State and Independent Electoral Commission, the need for governors to have scribing the issue of the governors interfering in the election, because INEC was mentioning the fact that this state independent do not really have so much of power. Sometimes they don't even have an office. You cannot really give them a place to say, okay, this is where the office are. And so the need for the election is really, really important. Now we're saying that recently as well, we're saying that Attorney General Federation is saying, you know what, there is a need to actually just scrap this whole thing, because the government, I think the federal government has gotten it over, because I mean the rate at which governors are really not doing what is expected is really, because we saw them suing, we saw the federal government suing the
Yes.
36 state governors, and we're seeing that even the governor of Lagos State is coming out to exempt himself, which we know there are few states that can actually say, you know what, we still have local government chairman. But out of the 36 states, how many states can boldly come out and say, you know what, we have operational, functional chairman, not caretaker committee? I remember during the election of Imo State, that was one of the cases that came up, the fact that the governor of the state, which is presently on his second tenure, has refused to conduct local government elections, and the need for local government elections is very, very important. We can go down to the issue of fake allocation that do not get to the local government areas as it should, and so many other things are coming down. So I think the federal government just saying, you know what, if this is how things are, let's just hand over everything to INEC. Maybe we can trust INEC to conduct election at a particular time, and then we know that, okay, this is how things will go, because we can no longer trust the governors with the State Independent Electoral Commission.
So I like the fact, honestly, that this concern or this suggestion and advocacy is coming from the Attorney General of the Federation and then the Minister of Justice. We're talking about Fabemi here. And when I try to hear or listen the point and where they are coming from, is majorly a concern and a fear of power, starting from the local government autonomy, what have been going on in the local government, caretakers rather than elections, and state governors just hijacking everything. And then when it comes to the funding, it has been given to the state government to be the one to disburse it, is constitutional, and all of that. And why I love the fact that this is coming from these two people, the Attorney General and then the Minister of Justice, is that they, above every other person, should know the Nigerian Constitution better. And you should know that, okay, for things to move on well, the Constitution needs to give room for it to function properly. And for me, it's just a build up from where I started from. Okay, so Latif is saying that, okay, this will be able to be controlled. For example, when it comes to the local government autonomy, the funding, the allocations rather for the local government going to the state government will be able to be fixed through a robust constitutional amendment. And then the question is, do we have people that are willing to sit down for a constitutional amendment that touches these areas and angle? Secondly, we are seeing them saying, okay, the functions and the power of this electoral state electoral commission should be transferred by to INEC. And we all know that what is needed is not a transfer, it's a control. That's what power is all about. Jurisdiction is all about putting things in place to control, to check and see, to question, to caution, and then to be able to put things in the right place. Now, as the AGF, you should know the Nigerian Constitution better than any other person in the country. That's why you are the Attorney General of the Federation. That's why you're the Minister of Justice. You are a senior advocate of Nigeria entirely. Would you sit down? Are you ready to do the work of sitting down and pinpointing, okay, we are afraid that state governors are having this much power. They've had this much power that they have affected the autonomy of local government. They have affected the growth and development of the of the local government. And now they will be able to also control the election. Now, are you ready to sit down? I believe that you are in that position to outline every tiny bit of the Constitution that needs to be amended that will address these particular issues. Same for the AGF. You are in the position to say this and this and that. We have this Constitution. Our Constitution is robust in this area, is big in this, is ambiguous in that. We saw the manipulation when it came to the electoral tribunal and all of that. Are we ready and willing to put in the work? Because in the end, it still boils down to our Constitution. Either way, it still boils down to our Constitution, because first, there was a Constitution that allowed the state electoral commissions to exist in the first place. And if there's anything that can control it, it still goes back to our Constitution either way. Because yes, your fears are legit, they are there, of course, it is a thing of concern. But now we are seeing the problem. What is the solution? Rather than having lawmakers worrying about old and new anthem, why are we not having them moving bills such as this to really see that state governors have certain control and don't have certain control? If this will be a problem, why don't we sit down and review our electoral constitutions and see, okay, if we transfer this power to INEC, INEC are already overburdened by general elections and state election. So what are we going to do constitutionally to see that there won't be a transfer, but rather a control? Because it is important for this state electoral commission to exist. As far as I'm concerned, when you look at it, they are important. It's not something that there's no need for it in the first place. So what are you going to do to oversee that your fears don't come into play? And that is why I keep asking, do we really have leaders and people that are ready to put in the work? Or are we just excited that there is a salary review that you'll be earning in millions and you're not doing the work? You know the problem, you know the solution. So why are we not working on solving the problem? You've put it out there, and yes, your concerns are concrete. We can't say no, let's push it aside. They are. But what is the way forward? Let's be more solution driven. And when we see the solution, are we ready to put in the work? As far as I'm concerned, we are still not ready to put in the work. We are comfortable. We just pondering and complaining and lamenting about the problems we have, rather than just going out there and solving it.
You know, Rachel, when I saw this concern, just like you said, there's a problem and it's legit, I couldn't help but cast my mind back. You remember when we had coup erupting in West Africa. I'm just saying Africa.
Yes.
And then there was this fear coming from some of our African leaders to the point that some of them had to shuffle some people that were of a particular
Yes,
rank
ranks in the
had to be
military.
brought down.
Yes.
Why did that happen? It was simple. Fear.
Fear, yeah. And then,
You realize that there was a need to do a particular thing and you didn't do it. So rather than rectifying the issue of corruption, accountability, transparency, how can I make sure my economy is thriving as the president of the country, you chose to shuffle your leaders. And no wonder the likes of Obasanjo came out to say, you know what, democracy is not for us. Let's look for something that is more indigenous to us. And I mentioned the fact that whether we practice democracy or not, it makes no difference. It's all about the key players. Who are the characters that are in it? Are they willing to actually do the job that is expected? And it's the same thing I'm saying here, Rachel. I mean, rather than say, let us give the powers over to INEC, what makes the Attorney General of the Federation feel that even when you give this work to INEC, the governors cannot manipulate
there's no
INEC?
guarantee that there won't be manipulation at whatsoever
You
level.
cannot be 100% sure
Yes.
that that will be the outcome eventually.
Yes.
So just like you said, I keep mentioning the fact that we have three arms of government and we also have three tiers of government. And over the years, if you look at what has been happening, it's because you rightly mentioned the fact that power has been the problem, as well as we do not have check and balance. You are supposed to check the other arm to be sure they are doing well. In the same thing, the various tiers of government are supposed to be, functional. You know that this is your jurisdiction. As the federal government, do not interfere in the affairs of the state government. As the state governor, do not interfere also in the affairs of the local government area. Yes, you are higher than they are. All you need to do is to check and balance and be sure that they are doing what they are supposed to do. We've had times that, of course, I would say that governors over the years have always put their own best candidates as chairman. But then what is the government willing to do? This is where I'm expecting the arms of government, just like you rightly mentioned. What is our lawmakers? What are they doing? That you pass a bill, you always mention the fact, let's just have a law. This is what should be done. You don't leave it to be optional.
Yeah.
You make it that this is a must. This is what you need to follow. Or else there is a riot act that will be read for you as a governor. And that's why I keep going back to the fact that some of our House of Assemblies do not even know why they are being elected.
Obviously.
You just sit down there. Do you really know what you should do? How comes the governor is controlling what is supposed to happen in the state and you don't have a say? You can't tell me, you know what, this is what should be done. This is how it is. This is the bill we passed. We think this should be done and this is this. And you sit down and you harmonize things. When we have this, we'll not have, the Attorney General, almighty Attorney General that should be concerned with other things.
Other things, yeah.
Concerned about the fact that, you know what, Senate wants to change the national anthem, which is so important. Governors are trying to manipulate local government election, so I'm just hoping, you know what, let every arm and tiers of God just do your job. That is all is expected. When you do your job, we'll not have all of these things coming up. But let us see how this whole thing will turn out to be, whether it will be scrapped or it will not be. Now, still looking at how things should be, we're seeing that, the Nigeria Air obviously has been a scam, according to our Minister of Aviation, Kiamo, because we could see that over the few weeks, or even we've been seeing issue. In fact, from last year, we've been seeing issue with the former aviation minister, and he's not the first that there have been a probe in that particular sector, Rachel. And it tends to be that over the years, a lot of assignment have not been done in that sector. And that is why we have people disbursing money without checking if that money is being done. I clearly remember when that Nigerian Air was being flagged off, and then, whole and behold, there was Ethiopian Airline somewhere. So it's obvious that it wasn't our plane. It was borrowed just for, a show off of a very short period of time. And then that was when all of it, and we're seeing that they said, you know what, for the meantime, that should be on hold indefinitely. And people cannot help but wonder, how comes almighty Nigeria, giant of Africa, do not have their own air? I remember we started that conversation in the morning, Rachel. A
Yes.
number of people say you can look at other smaller countries in West Africa that have their own air. What is stopping Nigerian government from successfully having not just one but multiple other airlines? They actually help, Nigeria. Let's not even talk about how much airfare has been over the years. You hear just from Abuja to Lagos an outrageous amount that you cannot help but use the road that you're afraid of kidnappers and robbers and potholes and all of that. Now that has been the situation, and I just hope that we had done better, Rachel, because that is my concern. At a time like this, I mean, how many years now? And we're yet to have our own airline. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a sad story.
And so like you said something that took me a little bit backward, like a little bit back, despite that's not where I had wanted to take my own opinion from. It took me back a little bit to how colonialism or the rule we were under didn't help us. Now I'm not taking it back to before. I'm just taking it to a little bit after independence and all of that, where we had the British Airlines and all of that. And I couldn't just help but ask, why didn't we just have the British government handing over this airline to us, making it ours, and we take it up for there? But then on a second thought, I was like, thank God they didn't give it to us. Looking at how we have depreciated over the years, a lot of people would have lost their life in Nigeria if that was what happened at that time, a transition, because we would have a failed system if we couldn't maintain rail, Sele. How would we have maintained air? Now let's bring it now back to the future and saying how comes we are not having our own air, and then you just can't help but say, and a lot of money has been put into it, and of course it just says one thing: corruption, obviously. However, every time information is coming out to us, Sele, I just can't help but wonder, when will we ever have a government that gives its people the details of what is really the problem? You can't just come out and say to us Nigerian air is scam. You can't just come out and say to us it's suspended indefinitely. You can't just come out and say it's not beneficial to us, is Ethiopian air. Because there was one thing for sure from the beginning that wasn't hidden when the Nigerian air project had been ongoing, was the fact that we are partnering with Ethiopian air. That wasn't a secret thing. It wasn't, because we did not have the capacity to buy planes enough for us to run on our own as it is, and we were going to buy these planes from Ethiopian Air at that time. Except if these were all lies coming to us by Sirika at that time, or what we knew about the Nigerian, because we were going to partner through them to be able to start having our own air. And I remember there was also questions of the quality of the planes we were getting from them. Let it not be the old planes that they have used, they are tired with it, and then we are starting. I remember those concerns at that time. So what is truly the problem? Because we know from the beginning there was a partnership with Ethiopian Air starting from somewhere. Of course, you need help from somewhere, because
You needed to start
to
somewhere.
start exactly. So now what is the problem? Where is it? Where is the problem precisely concerning it not it being beneficial to us but to the Ethiopian? Is it that in somewhere the contract signing, the money will be going to them and will not be making enough profit, or what is the problem? I think, in my own opinion, that Nigerians do have the right to certain information. I keep saying it's not government money, Sele. It's our money. It's our tax revenue. It's the 5 naira banks remove from you from every transaction you do. It's the levy, it's the electronic money transaction levy, it's the value added tax you're paying, it's the different types of tax you're paying that generates revenue for the government, and then eventually we sponsor every other thing. It's the loans that we will still be the ones to pay. It's the oil money that is not for the government, it's for Nigeria because it's found on Nigerian soil. Government come, government go, oil will remain. It's not government money. So it makes us look like we cannot question what they do. but we have the right to know how, what, every kobo that leaves the coffers of the Nigerian government account and what is being used for. So what exactly is the transaction there that is not going to be beneficial for us? Then that is when we can talk about it. We can talk about it. Secondly, you make mention of it as a scam. How? You can't just leave it there. What makes it a scam? We need to understand the scam nature of it and the level for it. Is it that the plane will not pick Nigerians, or when the money is being generated, it doesn't go into the Nigerian account? Or what is the fault there with the transaction and with it? And you can't suspend such a project indefinitely. I do not accept the indefinite term. Money has been put into it. Keyamo, work. Tell us that you're trying to fix legal issues that would have made it not that would have stopped it from being beneficial from us. Tell us that you're trying to fix this and this and this, and come 2025 the Nigerian Air will be up and running, not indefinitely, because so much has been sunk into. You can't sit down as an aviation minister and just let a project walk away. And this is my complaint concerning lack of continuity. When we have so much money going into such a project, and you come and you tell us indefinitely, no, give us a time frame, work on it, and let's have Nigerian Air fixed. If it is legal issues that is making it not beneficial to us or making it a scam, fix it. There's nothing that cannot be fixed. If it is the procurement of the aircraft that were fraudulent in any nature, fix it and tell Nigerians come 2025 we'll have Nigerian Air running. But don't say indefinitely with so much money being put. So when you put indefinite, it means it might crash, it might work, it might not, and so those monies will be gone. I mean, indefinitely is not accepted, Sele.
I mean, no Nigerian should even accept that word. Just like you said, you are the Minister of Aviation. When you accepted to be the minister, it wasn't a luxury. It wasn't going to be a joyful journey all along. Definitely, these are part of the things you have to fix, because you knew there was a problem there when you accepted. Nigerians have been asking, so where is that aircraft that we had, the Ethiopian airline? Did we return it back? Where is the aircraft? Because definitely there was an aircraft. We all saw the aircraft. So where is the aircraft now? So just like you said, we are fond of, I feel maybe the government or Keyamo is saying indefinitely just so that he can take off pressure coming from Nigerians. Possibility. Because you can't just say indefinitely. Maybe you just don't want people to be on you. I'm like, okay, so how far? What's happening? What's happening? But believe you me, you owe Nigerians that. You owe them all the explanation, just like you said. This is not a secret affair. This is something that we need to know. Just like if it's a legal issue, let us know. Have a press conference, state it to Nigeria. This and this and this was what happened. And that is why, from what happened from Sirika, some of the documents I was able to get, this was what happened and all of this. I wonder why certain information, we're just in this part of the country where hoarding of information is what we're good in. So you just leave Nigerians to just speculate and say, okay, this is what is happening. The aircraft is not there. We're still talking about the issue of our refineries. For years, we've been seeking money in that refinery, and we don't have anything to say for that. So who are the people that have been collecting the money? How come things are not working? I mean, Port Harcourt refinery is supposed to be functioning by now. What is happening? Kaduna, they said by December. My fingers are crossed. I am hoping. I'm hoping to hear when Warri refinery will start functioning as well. These are some of the things. We just have certain people working, and just like we said, if we are trying to analyze 1 year of the Tinubu's regime, we have to look at various sectors as well. We cannot just talk about the president. We'll talk about his cabinet members. What are they doing to make sure that they complement his work as well? So let's just hope and trust that, that indefinitely, he will actually go back on his word and say, when I mean indefinitely, I mean for the next 6 months. We'll need time to actually work and see what was the talk with the Ethiopian airline and how far we can go with all of this. Well, Rachel, thank you for doing this.
You're welcome, Sarah.
And also thank you to our viewers and also our supporters for watching Nigeria Now. Until we come your way tomorrow, please do have a great day ahead.